Welcome to the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Prepcast, where we guide you through everything you need to know for your certification exam. Whether you're just starting or looking to refine your knowledge, this course will set you up for success. Brought to you by baremetalcyber.com. Let's get started. Monitoring and management are the practices that ensure organizations stay in control of their AWS environments. Without visibility, it would be impossible to know if systems are healthy, secure, or cost-effective. AWS provides a wide range of services that help customers watch over their resources, automate tasks, enforce compliance, and design systems correctly. For the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam, you don't need to master every detail, but you should be familiar with the main management and monitoring tools. In practice, these services are what allow organizations to maintain trust in their cloud operations and continuously improve their systems. AWS CloudWatch is the central service for monitoring. It collects metrics, such as CPU usage, memory consumption, or network activity, and makes them available in dashboards. Customers can set alarms that trigger actions when thresholds are crossed, such as sending alerts or launching additional instances. CloudWatch also integrates with logs, making it possible to track application activity alongside system performance. For example, if a web application slows down, CloudWatch can show whether it's due to heavy CPU use or an error in the logs. For the exam, remember that CloudWatch provides metrics, alarms, and logs for monitoring AWS resources. Metrics and alarms are key parts of CloudWatch. Metrics are numerical data points that measure how resources are performing. For instance, an EC2 instance may report metrics for disk reads and writes. Alarms let you act on these metrics by setting conditions. If CPU usage exceeds 80%, CloudWatch can send a notification or trigger autoscaling to add more instances. This combination makes monitoring proactive instead of reactive. On the exam, expect questions about how CloudWatch can be used to detect and respond to performance changes automatically. Logs provide another layer of visibility. CloudWatch logs can capture detailed information from applications and systems, storing it securely and making it easy to search later. Logs are valuable for troubleshooting issues and understanding patterns. For example, an e-commerce site can review logs to identify why certain transactions failed. By integrating logs with metrics, CloudWatch gives organizations a complete picture of system health. For exam preparation, remember that CloudWatch supports both metrics and logs, making it AWS's most versatile monitoring tool. CloudTrail complements CloudWatch by focusing on auditing. While CloudWatch looks at performance, CloudTrail records every API call made in an account. This means you can see who did what, when, and from where. CloudTrail provides a clear record of actions, which is essential for accountability, investigations, and compliance. For example, if someone modifies a security group, CloudTrail shows the time, user, and details of the change. For the exam, know that CloudTrail is about tracking API activity for auditing and security purposes, while CloudWatch is about monitoring performance. AWS Config is another monitoring service, but it focuses on compliance. Config continuously records resource configurations and evaluates them against rules you define. For example, you might require all S3 buckets to have encryption enabled. If a bucket does not meet this requirement, Config flags it. This ensures compliance with internal policies or external regulations. Config also stores historical configuration data, allowing customers to see how resources have changed over time. For exam purposes, remember that Config is about compliance monitoring and auditing configurations, not performance metrics. Trusted Advisor is a guidance service that provides best practice checks across multiple categories. It evaluates accounts for cost optimization, security, performance, and fault tolerance, giving recommendations to improve them. For example, it might suggest deleting unused resources to save money, or enabling MFA for better security. While some checks are available for all users, full access is provided through higher support plans. Trusted Advisor is often described as a coach that helps organizations follow AWS best practices. On the exam, expect to see Trusted Advisor associated with recommendations across cost, security, and performance. AWS Systems Manager is another important tool for management. It provides a central place to view and automate operations across AWS resources. Systems Manager can apply patches, manage configurations, and run commands on multiple servers at once. For example, instead of logging into dozens of EC2 instances individually, administrators can use Systems Manager to apply updates across all of them simultaneously. This saves time and reduces errors. For exam purposes, remember that Systems Manager is about centralized operations and automation across AWS resources. AWS Service Catalog allows organizations to manage and distribute approved resources. Administrators can create catalogs of pre-approved templates and configurations that employees can launch. This ensures that teams use standardized, secure, and cost-effective resources rather than creating them from scratch. For example, a company might define an approved server configuration that developers can launch quickly without worrying about security missteps. For the exam, remember that Service Catalog is about governance and consistency, ensuring only approved resources are deployed. AWS Control Tower is a service for managing multi-account environments. Large organizations often run many AWS accounts for different departments, projects, or regions. Control Tower provides a framework for creating and governing these accounts consistently. It applies guardrails, sets up best practices, and gives administrators visibility across the organization. For example, Control Tower can enforce that all accounts enable logging or restrict usage to approved regions. On the exam, remember that Control Tower is about governance and multi-account management. CloudFormation is AWS's tool for automation through infrastructure as code. With CloudFormation, customers define their infrastructure in templates, which AWS then deploys automatically. This ensures consistency, reduces manual effort, and makes it easy to replicate environments. For example, a development team can launch identical testing and production environments using the same template. For exam purposes, remember that CloudFormation automates the creation and management of AWS resources using code. OpsWorks is another automation tool, but it focuses on configuration management using Chef or Puppet. These are popular open-source systems for managing infrastructure. OpsWorks allows customers to apply consistent configurations across resources, especially in hybrid environments. For example, it can ensure that servers always launch with the correct software packages and settings. For the exam, know that OpsWorks is about configuration management with Chef and Puppet, while CloudFormation is AWS's native infrastructure as code tool. The AWS Well-Architected tool is designed to help customers evaluate their architectures against AWS best practices. It is based on the Well-Architected Framework, which includes pillars like security, reliability, and cost optimization. Customers answer questions about their systems, and the tool provides recommendations for improvement. For example, it might suggest enabling multi-AZ deployments for better availability. For exam purposes, remember that the Well-Architected tool helps assess and improve designs according to AWS best practices. Finally, proactive monitoring ties all these services together. Instead of waiting for issues to occur, AWS encourages organizations to design systems with visibility and resilience from the start. CloudWatch metrics, CloudTrail logs, config rules, and trusted advisor recommendations all work together to provide insight. When combined with automation through Systems Manager and CloudFormation, organizations can build systems that adapt and improve continuously. For the exam, remember that proactive monitoring is not optional. It is a core advantage of cloud computing, ensuring systems stay healthy, secure, and efficient. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Centralized monitoring is one of the biggest benefits of AWS's management tools. Instead of checking each resource individually, services like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and Config allow administrators to view metrics, logs, and compliance status in one place. This saves time and ensures no resource is overlooked. Imagine trying to manage hundreds of servers without a central view. It would be chaotic. Centralized monitoring gives clarity, helps detect issues quickly, and makes large-scale cloud environments manageable. For the exam, Remember that AWS tools provide a single pane of glass for monitoring performance, security, and compliance. Automation is another advantage, especially with AWS Systems Manager. Instead of logging into each server to install updates or make configuration changes, administrators can run automated commands across all resources. Systems Manager also supports scheduled tasks like nightly patching or backups. This reduces human error and ensures consistency across environments. In real-world practice, automation saves time and frees teams to focus on innovation. On the exam, remember that Systems Manager is a key service for automating operations and applying changes at scale across AWS environments. The AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam emphasizes monitoring tools. Candidates should know the purpose of CloudWatch for metrics and alarms, CloudTrail for auditing API activity, and Config for compliance. You may also see questions about Trusted Advisor, Systems Manager, and the Well-Architected tool. The goal is not to memorize every detail, but to understand what each service is designed to do. Being able to match tools to scenarios is critical. For example, recognizing the CloudTrail records who made changes, while CloudWatch tracks system performance. AWS Control Tower plays a major role in governance. In large organizations with many accounts, governance ensures that rules are enforced consistently. Control Tower helps by automating account setup, applying guardrails, and providing oversight. For instance, it can require that all accounts enable logging or prevent resources from being launched in restricted regions. This governance reduces risks and ensures compliance with organizational policies. On the exam, remember that Control Tower is specifically about managing and governing multi-account AWS environments. CloudWatch integrates closely with other AWS services. For example, it can monitor EC2 instances, Lambda functions, or DynamoDB tables, collecting performance metrics from all of them. It can also trigger automated responses, such as launching new instances when CPU usage spikes. This integration makes CloudWatch a central hub for performance monitoring across AWS. For the exam, remember that CloudWatch is versatile. It handles metrics, alarms, logs, and events for a wide variety of AWS services. Security monitoring relies heavily on CloudTrail. Because it records every API call, CloudTrail provides the evidence needed to track user activity, investigate suspicious actions, or comply with audits. For example, if someone disables encryption on a storage bucket, CloudTrail shows who did it and when. This makes CloudTrail a key part of accountability and governance. For exam purposes, remember that CloudTrail is not about performance, but about logging actions and providing an audit trail of AWS activity. Real-world examples show how these tools come together. A company running a global e-commerce site might use CloudWatch to monitor server performance, Config to ensure all storage buckets are encrypted, CloudTrail to log user activity, and Trusted Advisor to optimize costs. Together, these services provide visibility, security, and efficiency. The exam may present scenario-based questions like this, testing your ability to identify which tool would address a particular need. Understanding how services complement each other is essential for exam success and practical use. Hybrid monitoring strategies are also common. Many organizations still run some workloads on premises while adopting AWS. Tools like Systems Manager and CloudWatch can integrate with these hybrid environments, providing centralized monitoring across both AWS and local resources. This hybrid approach makes it easier to transition gradually to the cloud without losing visibility. On the exam, expect to see hybrid monitoring framed as a way to support organizations that operate across both traditional and cloud infrastructures. As organizations grow, monitoring must scale with them. AWS services are designed to handle this growth automatically. CloudWatch can monitor thousands of resources, Config can track compliance across entire environments, and Systems Manager can automate updates at scale. Without this scalability, organizations would struggle to keep pace with expanding workloads. For exam preparation, remember that AWS monitoring tools are built to scale, making them suitable for everything from small startups to global enterprises. Monitoring also plays a role in cost management. By watching resource usage, organizations can identify idle instances, underutilized storage, or excessive data transfers. Trusted Advisor highlights these inefficiencies, while CloudWatch provides the metrics to act on them. For example, CloudWatch might show that a server is running at only 5% CPU utilization, suggesting it could be downsized or stopped. Monitoring ensures customers pay only for what they need, aligning costs with actual usage. The exam may highlight this as one of the benefits of proactive monitoring. The AWS Well-Architected tool supports continuous improvement by helping organizations assess their systems against best practices. Customers answer structured questions, and the tool provides recommendations for improvement in areas like security, performance, and cost optimization. This creates a cycle of review and refinement, ensuring systems evolve along with business needs. For the exam, remember that the Well-Architected tool is about evaluating designs and encouraging ongoing improvement, not just one-time assessments. Management and monitoring also tie into the shared responsibility model. AWS provides the tools and secures the underlying infrastructure, but customers must use those tools to manage their own environments effectively. For example, AWS ensures CloudTrail is available, but customers must enable it to record activity. Shared responsibility means AWS and customers each have roles in maintaining security, compliance, and visibility. For exam preparation, keep in mind that monitoring is a shared effort, requiring both AWS services and customer action. Monitoring is a key domain for the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. You may be asked which service provides metrics, which logs API calls, or which checks for compliance. These questions test your ability to distinguish between services and recognize their purposes. Mastering this domain ensures you can answer with confidence and also apply the knowledge in workplace settings. Monitoring knowledge bridges the gap between technical management and business governance, making it an essential skill. As we close this episode, remember that management and monitoring services provide the visibility and control needed for successful cloud adoption. They ensure systems are secure, efficient, and compliant, while also helping organizations optimize performance and cost. From CloudWatch and CloudTrail to Config, Systems Manager, and the Well-Architected tool, AWS offers a complete suite of services to support proactive operations. For the exam, focus on identifying the purpose of each tool. For real-world practice, use them together to build systems that are resilient, cost-effective, and continuously improving. That concludes today's episode of the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Prepcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode and visit us online at baremetalcyber.com or cyberauthor.me for more resources, including news, mailing lists, YouTube videos, podcasts, and much more.